In this Bellroy Lite Sling review, I'm going to show you around the inside and the outside of this sling. We'll talk materials and features. Then I'm going to wrap it up with what I like and what I don't like about this sling. So I used this sling quite a bit when I first got it, and it's got some great features with a few minor drawbacks that you're going to want to know about. As always, there's links in the description. Let's dive into the review. Starting with specs, 7 liters is what we're looking at for capacity for the Bellroy Lite Sling, which is a fairly sizable sling. You can get a lot of gear in there. It's 12.2 inches wide by 5.9 inches high, and it weighs in at 220 grams empty. It's a pretty lightweight sling. Moving on to colors and materials, the Bellroy Lite Sling is currently available in 4 different colorways. This is copper. The website advertises the material as durable, lightweight ripstop that's up to 3 times lighter than their typical fabrics. The chalk, copper, and shadow color, according to the website, are 100% recycled PET, while the arcade gray colorway is 100% recycled nylon. The lightweight material makes the Bellroy Lite Sling a great option to fold, roll, or otherwise pack in your travel bag for use at your destination as a day sling. Moving on to the exterior, we've got some great material on this sling. Somehow it manages to be lightweight but still feel very premium. It's got a great diamond ripstop pattern to it and just a great feel overall. A little bit crinkly but not too much. Just a great feeling material and really nice look to it. I really like the material on the sling. So if you'll notice, we got 2 pockets on this sling, both of which are covered by what looks like a PU coated zipper, a water resistant zipper. The top main pocket as well as a front quick access pocket. The zipper pulls on the main pocket are fantastic. We've got some heavy duty paracord like material with some heat shrink tubing around it. I really like how they went around the knots on that tubing or on the paracord. That's not going to come untied. So really cool idea. I shouldn't say I've never, but I don't typically see it executed like that, and I really like the way they did that. Well, another thing to note about the zipper on this main access pocket is that the zipper pulls, or the zippers terminate at either end. And it took me a little bit of time to understand this, but once I've used it, it's really a genius idea. I like the fact that you can reach from either side of this sling and you've got a zipper to pull, and you pull it all the way open to get unfettered access to the inside of the sling. You know, typically zippers both terminate on the same side, and you could position them both on this side and unzip from that way, or vice versa, or put them in the middle, and then you have to open both this way. This is really a great idea, and it makes it truly ambidextrous in terms of entry into that main pocket, which is fantastic. The zipper on the quick access front pocket is much the same in terms of the fact that it's a coated zipper, waterproof looking, and the slight differences in the zipper pull. So the zipper pull is a little bit more low profile, which enables it to sit down underneath that flap and stay hidden. Also on the outside, we have the strap, which is very nice quality, almost seatbelt like a material, not quite as smooth, very durable. I like the fact that it's low profile. I don't think it needs any padding, which there is no padding on this strap, but it's not really needed in a sling this size. This stays out of your way, maintains its packability, nice low profile strap. The strap has a magnetic clasp on it. This is a pretty good iteration of magnetic clasps. It's pretty stable, sturdy, doesn't come apart. This one is a little bit less prone than other slings I have with a fidlock type magnetic clasp on it to come apart. So that is definitely a nice feature on this, and placement wise it works out perfectly for me as a righty. When I put this on, it's right in front of me. If I want to undo it, take it off, I've got it right there. The one thing to note on that though is that for lefties it might not be as friendly, as user friendly for our left-handed friends. The strap itself, you can see, culminates in these 2 loops on both ends. Those loops in conjunction with the side gussets are actually my favorite feature of this sling. The sling folds down nice and flat. These gussets allow it to maintain a really flat profile when there's nothing in it. And then when you wear it, the pressure on these straps pulls that tight and keeps it nice and flat, compressing into your body a little bit, makes it really nice to carry, and really a great feature overall. The adjustment point on this is nothing fancy, but it works extremely well. Adjustment's very simple, no finagling or feeding strap through. Strap management is very good as well, since this is basically a closed loop. There's no dangling ends, which is nice. The only thing to note about that piece of hardware is that if you are wearing it front carry with a backpack on, that is going to be basically right in the middle of your back, potentially, depending on how low you wear it. But I've tested it and it does not dig into my back. I didn't even notice it was there. So still works pretty well as a front carry with a backpack on. The other thing to note is that because of the attachment angle and the attachment location, this sling is comfortable to wear high and tight, low and loose, front, back. Really a very comfortable sling to carry. Also on the front we have a bike light loop, so if you were wearing this on your back on a bike and you want to put a strobe in there, great place to do it. The last thing I'll mention about the exterior is that there is a very slight amount of padding in the back of the sling. There's nothing in the front, no padding in front, but a very small amount of padding in the back. So that's really going to help prevent any of the contents from digging in your back when you're wearing it. However, it still maintains its slim, lightweight profile with that minimal amount of padding in there. It's just a nice added touch, I believe. Moving on to the interior, we've got two pockets on here. As I mentioned, the front pocket is pretty simple. It's got a key lanyard, which is basically paracord with a plastic hook on there. And we've got some heat shrink tubing holding it together. And then there are two small divider pockets in there. So these are a pretty good spot to put AirPods. I put my AirPods in there typically. I will also note that this pocket is the perfect height for my recycled firefighter sergeant wallet. It fits in there perfectly and clears the zipper, so great spot for a wallet if you want to put a wallet in there. Otherwise, you're really not going to get too much in here. Space-wise, it's a smaller pocket. So moving on to the main pocket, we've got a nice big opening when we unzip this into the nice big main spacious compartment. So there's not a whole lot of organization in this sling, which is fine, but you've got a pocket in the back for sunglasses, and that is raised off the bottom of the sling a bit, so it's out of the danger zone when you're stuffing a lot of stuff in here. Inside you've got the Bellroy owl and a little bit of writing on that pocket. The pocket itself is gray in color to kind of offset it from the copper interior. The only other pocket you have, and let me unzip it the other direction, there is another pocket inside this corner right here, which is pretty small. You could put some AirPods in there. I found, however, that when you do put something in that pocket, it tends to interfere with this gusset folding properly and kind of hinders that compression feature a bit, so I don't typically use it. One more thing to note about the inside of this sling and the way it's made with these gussets is that the gussets don't actually seal. So there's an opening into the bag. If I put my finger in here, I can get at the inside of the bag, and if you look, the way this folds over, this zipper terminates here. There's a little bit of space between the gusset so that you're not quite sealed shut on there. And I understand why they did that. That allows that gusset to fold and minimize the space. However, it does bother me a bit knowing that this thing isn't completely sealed. You know, we've got water resistant zippers on there, we've got water resistant material, and then we've got a big opening in that gusset. I shouldn't say big, let's be fair, it's a small opening, but we've got an opening nonetheless, and a path for water through that gusset and into your sling. Now, in all fairness, I've worn this in the rain, and I have not gotten the interior of the sling wet, but I did make sure I was wearing it flat so that the water would run off this way, and I feel like if you did have it on your back in that manner, that gusset would likely collect water, which could then potentially go into the sling. Again, in practice, I haven't seen this. I haven't had anything fall out of the sling. It is a rather small opening, but something about the fact that it's not completely closed does bother me a bit. And that's really it for the interior. So let's move on to what I like about this sling. So my favorite feature is the compression strap setup with the gussets, and even though this isn't sealed, as I mentioned, it's a little bit of give and take here. In order to get that great compressibility and the wearability of it, you got to give a little in terms of it's not completely sealed. I do wish they could find a way to do it without that opening, but it's a trade-off nonetheless, and I do like the compression feature a lot. Secondly, I like the materials and design. We've covered that for the most part. And then the third would be the zipper openings on the top. I really like how they did that with the zipper terminating on both ends. And then overall, I would just say I think this is a well-designed sling that's very wearable, and it's nice to use. Let's move on to what I don't like about this sling. And again, I don't like the fact that the gussets are open to the inside of the bag, but a little bit of a trade-off there. And then the only other thing I would mention is that this is not necessarily lefty friendly. It's a little bit less friendly for lefties due to that clasp placement than it is for righties. Let's talk use case scenarios for a minute. Why would you buy this sling? So I think you could use this as an everyday carry sling. I, however, think it's a little big for that purpose. I wouldn't use it for an everyday carry sling. I think what this sling is really well suited for is exactly what it was designed for. Packing this away into a travel bag for use as a day sling when you get to your destination. This sling really excels for that. It's really designed for that use case, I believe, and that's where it's really gonna shine. So what if you've watched this review, you're looking for a sling, but you don't think this is the sling for you? What next? Well, I've got a couple other sling reviews you can check out. The first is the Peak Design 10-liter everyday sling, which is a bigger sling, great for someone who carries a laptop or a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Link above, go check it out. Another option would be the Air Day Sling 3 that I recently did a review on. My personal favorite sling right now. Very hard to beat in terms of style, features, material, quality. Link above, go take a look at that video. And that wraps it up for the Bellroy Lite Sling. Thanks. Recycled's not a word. It's PET. PET. Recycled PET. Alrighty. Back to the beginning of that segment. None of these sound good.